Hey guys, Zomfox here, and we have some massive news regarding the UFL's 2026 season, as all the news about the upcoming teams has come out, where they're going to play, what the teams' names are, what the logos are, as well as multiple stadium changes and a new rebranding that we didn't see coming. I said in the last video talking about relocation and all that they had to do two things to make the whole decision to move away from San Antonio, Michigan, and Memphis a good decision. They not only did both of those two things, they did it even more, to where my hope for the league has grown exponentially within the span of about 2 hours, to the point where it feels like 2027 is almost a guarantee. Let's get right into it with the big announcement tweet. 8 teams, 1 league. We are the United Football League. We have a new logo for the UFL itself, having the UFL in the football. And as you can see, that is not Photoshop. The Houston Gamblers are back. Now, that initial post, it does look like the logo is a bit different. It's going to use yellow's secondary color scheme. They just kind of used the old one. But we have the Orlando Storm as a new team, the Louisville Kings, and the Columbus Aviators. The Aviators, nobody's shocked at that. We kind of actually saw that one coming. But the Renegades are now the Dallas Renegades. They are back to being called the Dallas Renegades. And obviously, the big talking point here is there's no Guardians. I think that Rapolo and all them saw the amount of people who either A, hated the Guardians being in Orlando instead of New York, and B, hated the color scheme and overall branding the Guardians had. So instead of doing that, they did this. This thing with Orlando, I was a big Orlando hater because I assumed they were going to do the Guardians in Camping World. That is not the case, to where this is actually a good decision to put the team in Orlando. They are rebranding them as the Storm. So they are actually spending extra money to go the extra mile to do that. So we've got the Orlando Storm, Louisville Kings, Houston Gamblers, Dallas Renegades, and Columbus Aviators being changed. Now, those two teams, the Dallas Renegades and Gamblers, also are changing stadiums, which I'll talk about in a second. This means that barring any last-second changes, the only two teams that will not be playing in a soccer stadium are the Stallions and the Battlehawks. The two teams that you wouldn't change. Stallions, while they're not getting the attendance you would expect for a football stadium like that, Protective is that stadium. When you think of stadiums for spring football, Protective is the one right behind the Dome. And then DC obviously is fine. So only 3 teams aren't changing. Now, these are the 3 teams in a closer look. The Orlando Storm, Louisville Kings, and Columbus Aviators. Honestly, I've seen some people say they don't like the Aviators logo. I actually think it's a pretty nice one. I get that some people might say it's a bit too much having the little wing part on the C. But honestly, I think it's a nice one. You're able to have, the little propeller be kind of the middle part of the A, have it go with the C. I think it's okay. Then the Louisville Kings, I'm not shocked at all. Of course, we're horse guy. Louisville, I'm not shocked at all by that logo. And the Orlando Storm, probably the weakest of the logos, but the same token as, some people pointing out, it is kind of similar to like I think it was the Frankfurt Galaxy for the, World Football League or the European NFL or whatever. And so I do see it, and I do like it for that aspect. The overall name of the Storm having the logo as being part of the O was a really nice touch. Honestly, I think they did a pretty good job with these ones. Like I said, we all kind of expected them to just call the Orlando team the Guardians. People be upset, or try and go and buy back the AAF trademark. And while I do think that would have been cool to get the Apollos back, I think the fact they're going to a new team, a new logo, is a really cool thing because of the other big announcement. And that's, of course, well, not that one, but this is one of them. There is no conference play this upcoming season. Just none. Now, of course, we had heard rumors that they were going to get rid of the XFL and USL conferences, but we all expected them to just change it to being, like a north, south, east, and west. No, there's just no conference. So it's going to be very interesting to see how they actually divvy up the games as they continue this 10-week season. How are they going to handle which teams play each other twice and all that? We'll have to wait and see about that. But we do have the fact that there's no more conferences. The top 4 teams will make the playoffs. This is a really cool thing. I personally am not the biggest fan of this. I think that, like I said before, I wish that they would do this as like 2 conferences and have no divisions. I actually am for no divisions in this league. I think that's a cool thing. I personally think it should still be 2 conferences, though. Have 2 conferences when you do expand in 2028, as long as you get there. As Rapolo suggested, you add, the 2 teams, put 1 in each, then you have 2 conferences of 5 teams. And let's say in the distant future you have 16 teams, keep them at 8 each. So I'm not the biggest fan of this. I know a lot of other people are, though, so for all you guys, I'm happy for you. I just loved having division rivalries, but I want it to be more like conference rivalries, but we have 1 conference now. Interesting to see what will happen if they do end up expanding. Now, they will be kicking off March 27th. massive decision, and that is an awesome thing. Number one, it shows that Friday Night Football is continuing. Yes, the ratings weren't as insane as we expected, but as I've said before and will still say, it is awesome having a game at the same time, same day, every single week. Having kickoff being Friday is showing that is more than likely going to continue. Number two, March 27th. I made an entire video on it. The UFL start date is the best the three leagues had. The XFL's was the worst. Starting right after the Super Bowl was a terrible decision, especially because the Super Bowl is being pushed back like year in, year out, to where you're going to start like around the 20th of February. You have to go through all of March Madness. You don't miss like any of the, you actually add like 2 golf majors. I know the Players isn't technically a major, but basically is. So you had like 2 majors, and you're competing with the bulk of the NBA and NHL playoffs. Whereas the UFL schedule, when you get to the end, there's only a couple playoff games on at a time. So as long as you schedule right, you're not going head to head against them. And then the USFL schedule made it to where you couldn't actually expand the schedule because the latest you can go is July 4th. So this is a great decision. The league is keeping the same start date. They are keeping Friday Night Football, massive stadium. And as you can see, we have the stadium announcements, which will also show in this press release here to make it a bit harder to tell, but you know it is. So this is one that came out. This is the top of the article they put out. The new teams will be in Columbus playing at historic Crew Stadium, Louisville, Kentucky, or being where Lynn Family Stadium, Louisville City FC's, or not Louisville City FC, my bad, and then Orlando's playing at Intern Stadium. That's the big one. The number one thing that I said in the last video, if you play at Camping World, it is you admitting as a league that barring a miracle, we are folding after 2026. Because Camping World Stadium, from every report, has at least, that's a key word, is at least 1 year of free, prepaid, able to play availability. And that's at least. It is entirely possible the league has more than 1 year. So the fact they didn't go there to go to or Inter & Co. to fit the vision Rapol has is an unfathomably good sign for the league. And to make it even better, they are moving out of Choctaw, which no one saw that coming, and moving to Toyota Stadium where FC Dallas plays. I know it's technically in Frisco, I believe, but it's where the Dallas team plays, and they already had heard about the Dallas Renegades going back to it, and they did. And the Gamblers are going to Shell Energy Stadium. This means, like I said, the only 2 non-soccer stadiums are Protective, which is really like the spring football stadium in terms of importance, and then the mecca of spring football, which would be the Battle Dome. Every other team is in a soccer stadium. That is insane. And that is, of course, because these are the capacities for them. Lynn Family Stadium is the smallest. With standing, it's about like a 15K capacity stadium, so it is pretty small, which this is why you're probably going to move Memphis here, I would bet, because if you move the Panthers there, like the Panthers were going to get you 14K attendance, so you're not moving them there. Like I said, if you're moving the Panthers got to move to Columbus. I think it's just safe to say that Columbus is where they have to go. Because then if you do bring back the Panthers in a couple of years, you have an automatic built-in rivalry, not just because Ohio versus Michigan, but because Ohio took their team. Then Inter & Co. Stadium, 25K. Shell Energy Stadium, 20K. Toyota, 20K. Then you have Historic Crew, 20K. You have all of these stadiums that minus Lynn Family are basically 20 to 25K. With most of, that is awesome. The league needed to go to these smaller stadiums and these smaller places to play. They're using the MLS USL stadium model. Go to the smaller places. It looks better on TV, and it's a good overall decision. This is the most hope we've had for the league in a while. They're having the press release come out later today. There might be something else that comes out. If other news comes out from that, I won't have a video on that till late today. But I needed to get this one out because of this. Now, overall, in terms of my thoughts on this changes, my hope for the league has grown a ton within a couple hours. It had been going down and down when they did announce they were moving Michigan and San Antonio. It's what I said. When I took a couple hours to reflect, I said, you know what? Like I said in the video that came out last week, if they go to all these soccer stadiums, it's proof of Rapol wanting to do his vision. It is him saying that there was a very real shot. There was something going wrong with Alumni Field, whether it not being guaranteed that it'll be done by 2027, whether they wouldn't have the Panthers for sure, and so they just moved them. It seems very evident now in hindsight that Rapol was going to be willing to keep the Panthers in Ford Field if he could guarantee they'd be back in 2027. At least that's what it feels like to me. The fact that he couldn't guarantee they'd be in Lynn Family by 2027 is why I moved him. And then San Antonio, like I said, there's really no soccer stadium they can really go to, if I'm not mistaken, because the only ones technically are like school stadiums, so you can't, serve beer and all that. Whereas these ones are all great, especially Inter & Co. The fact that they not only moved out of Choctaw, because apparently, like, Arlington as a whole, they got an insane deal at. I know some people are speculating they're going to move out of Arlington as a hub. I don't think so. You already have your headquarters there. You're probably going to stay there. It's just, you're just putting the team in Dallas. It's overall a good thing. These are great decisions the league is making right now because of the fact that they're able to justify moving out of markets. I hate the fact they moved out of Michigan. I hate the fact they moved out of San Antonio, Memphis. It sucks for the people who did love the Memphis. Yeah, no, you G-man. But when you really look at it, doing this justifies those moves. It is saying that we want to be in legit soccer stadium or fields, whatever you want to call them, soccer stadium / fields. That's what you want to do. You want to be in the soccer stadiums. You want to be in the 25K ones. That's what Rapol said when he joined. This is a big thing. He is sticking to his word. He said, I want these teams to be in 20 to 25K seat stadiums, and guess what? All but 2 of them are now in those kind of stadiums, and the only 2 that aren't are the Battlehawks, who are getting you 30K a game, and the Stallions, who have been a protective for an insane 4 straight years going into a 5th. So yes, it makes sense to keep those 2 and have all the rest change. It is a great sign of the future growth of the league. And like I said, the biggest reason why this is showing the league is planning to stay past 2026 is Orlando. If you go to Camping World, you are going there to save money. The fact that you are biting the bullet and spending money to go to Inter & Co. says that you have a plan, you have a future vision. The fact that you're sticking on Friday Night Football shows that Fox is still caring about their product. It's showing that they still have an idea what to do with it. It is overall great. The sentiment has gone just through the roof. The Gamblers Roughnecks change, I said it before, they should have never changed from the Gamblers because they kept the Gamblers team. Because they kept the Gamblers team, they should have never changed it. Because you changed it but then didn't have the team because the USLPA, blah, 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 you ended up pissing off both fan bases. Now, is it 2 years too late? Yeah, but you are going to Shell Energy Stadium, and they are changing the color schemes to somewhat match the place they're playing at, if I'm not mistaken, because I know they like that. I know it's a big part of Orlando, because I think that, there's, some purple in Inter & Co. Stadium. You have purple in your logo, so it makes sense. So I'm not against the Gamblers change. It's also the more recognizable brand. Now, in Texas, it's not, but across the nation, it is the more recognizable brand. People know the Gamblers, of course, Jim Kelly. So I'm actually okay with it, though, like I said, they shouldn't have ever changed it. They should have just kept the Gamblers. If you're going to keep the team, you keep it. That's what I said, or you just, it was messed up. But overall, though, really, really good news came out today. If any other big news comes out, expect a video later today, 6, 7, 8-ish. This video is probably going to post at 10, 15, 10:30. Like I said, insane news. Let me know down below. Make sure you comment down below. What are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts on the league? What are your personal odds the league plays in 2027? Said it before, mine was 50%, then it dropped to 40%, then it dropped to about probably 20% last weekend, and now it's probably up to about 65, 70%. So what are your odds or percentage that the UFL plays in 2027? Are you excited for the new teams? Let me know down below. And as always, guys, have a great night. And by the way, I forgot to mention, if you have not already seen, new PFP, new channel banner. Well, channel banner is basically the same, but new PFP is already out. Change the font of the Zomfox. Put the new logo, all that. Already done on all my socials. And as always, guys, have a great night.